Hello, y'all. I am back again for another video. And this video is going to be about narcissistic male comes into the family. Narcissistic white female comes into the family. Now, I'm just going to state this. I'm not like Malcolm X. Okay. Malcolm X, there was some important things that he said to Black people that actually applies to white people as well. So one of those things is when Malcolm X said, don't use the white man's drugs. That applies to white men too. So white men have to say, I should not be using the white man drugs. So with that being said, I'm going to begin it with this. A narcissistic white female coming into the family. This video applies to white people as well, but especially Black people, because there's an extra dynamic to it that will make it way worse. But the advice and guidelines and the suggestions of how I mastered a narcissistic white female coming into the family, that advice will apply to you. Now, first of all, the narcissistic white female, when she comes into the family, from my perspective, she will have like a preference, okay? And her preference will usually be to target other white people and Black people. So with that being said, the reason a narcissistic white female is going to target a white or Black family, because they're more likely to mix. Okay. So for example, where I live, Filipinos, they don't mix with other races a lot. And when they do, it's actually normally with another Black person, traditionally, where I live. Okay. So Black people will mix with white people more. So a narcissistic white female will target the Black community because that's going to be a race that she can get supply from and get her needs met. So with that being said, but like I said, a narcissistic white female, she can also come into a white family as well. Okay. So thank you so much for tuning in, y'all. So this video is about narcissistic white females coming into the family. And I began it by saying, click a like, please. Click a like, pretty please. I began it by saying this video is for white people as well. However, there will be certain parts that a white person will need to adjust because they will know other white people better. Okay, if that makes sense. But I'm going to explain my experience. Okay, so a narcissistic white female comes into the family. Okay, so there will be like a profile that I have been able to develop because I have experience with it now. Okay, I have experience with it now. So a narcissistic white female comes into the family. Okay, and like I said, she will usually target white people and Black people. Please click a like, y'all. That will be her normal preference. Primarily will be her number one preference. Okay. Not to say she can't come into another race. So if you're another race and there's a narcissistic white female that's coming into the family, and she will usually come into the family through your sons, through your nephews, through your big cousins, little cousins. So narcissistic white females will normally come into the family through a man or a young teenager, a male that's in the family. Okay. So that will be her entryway. And the male that she's coming through, or the guy, he's under the influence. So you have to look at him just like a drug addict. So he's under the influence of sex. So it's going to be very hard for a male to get rid of a narcissistic female because of sex. And a narcissistic white female, she's going to bring all kind of nastiness to your male relatives. So okay, if he hasn't had a threesome, she's gonna introduce him to that. She's gonna at first purchase liquor for him. She's a demon, a narcissistic white female coming into the family. You have to view it just like a whole demon. She's coming into the family to kill, steal, and destroy. Even if she doesn't fully know that's what she's doing, the spirit of her, that's what she's doing. A narcissistic white female, usually because she will be either a undiagnosed psychopath or a lesser narcissist, or she usually won't be a mid-range narcissist or point out mid-range narcissists. I find that a narcissistic white female will normally be a lesser narcissist. So she will lack some control of her temper, things that she says. She's going to blurt out stuff. She's going to be kind sometimes, not so kind sometimes. So with a narcissistic white female, the first thing you want to do is get to know her. Don't assume just because she's white, she's narcissistic. This is not a racist video, okay? However, the best type of personalities to kind of conquer this situation and make it where it doesn't get so out of control is white supremacists or black supremacists. So if a narcissistic white female comes into a white supremacist situation, and I don't mean it in a bad way. See, supremacy doesn't mean racism. Supremacy just means having some order in your race and feeling like you can help other people and you have confidence in your own race. So, and that will be who a narcissistic white female will target. She will target white supremacists and black supremacists. So, which means this, a narcissistic white female, she will come into a strong group of white people, sometimes even church people. So if she's a narcissistic white female, she's coming from a basis of poverty. She was born right into poverty, usually. And I'm talking about extreme poverty. Poverty, not being poor. Poverty means your basic needs are not being met. You ain't got enough food. You didn't got used to your lights and water being off. You lived in a situation where you was being rained on every day as you slept. So a narcissistic white female, she wants to come into a white supremacy family or come into a black supremacy family because she wants to target people that have something. They have some money to give her. They have a residence she can lay up at. She's looking for providers as well. Okay. And people to use. I mean, a narcissistic white female, she's struggling. Sometimes they're in shelters. Sometimes they're staying at storage units. It's a variety of situations that a narcissistic female can be involved in. Maybe she's in and out of prostitution and stuff like that. Now, a narcissistic white female, y'all know about the word hood rat, right? So hood rats or ghetto black women they'll be called hood rats. So a ghetto black woman that's highly narcissistic, they'll call her a hood rat. So a narcissistic white female is a hood rat. But the danger of it is she will try to present like she's wife material. So she's like the facade version of a hood rat. She will be what the world would call trailer park trash. So a narcissistic white female that's coming into the family, it usually is not a rich one. Even if you are a prominent or rich white family or black family, you will find that a narcissistic white female has very little going for herself. She has nothing established. She has nothing in the bank. She doesn't have furniture. She doesn't have a decent wardrobe. She doesn't have any class. She's never worked a job. She will be just like hood rats. She will not know who any of her children are by. She will be below a hood rat. At least a hood rat know who some of the kids by. A narcissistic white female, you'll be surprised. She don't know who none of the kids by. Every child she has another potential father. And a narcissistic white female, the surprising thing, looking from the outside in, there's this stereotype that narcissistic white females are maybe smarter than black ladies. They are not. A black woman will at least attempt to find out who the child's father is. A narcissistic white female, she feels like she doesn't have to find out who her children's father is. She feels like she doesn't have to offer the family any DNA results. And a narcissistic white female, because of her whiteness, she will feel like everybody gotta be on her team or provide or be friendly with her, even though she's not providing any evidence or facts of sometimes even her own identity. You'll have a narcissistic white female that comes into the family and you like, hey, I just found 5 IDs in one of the rooms I let you stay in. Who are you? Narcissistic white females, they will have aliases. It will be all kind of stuff going on. So with the narcissistic white female, one of the things you want to do is confirm that she's a narcissistic white female. So no matter what your race, just because she's white, you don't want to assume she's a narcissistic female. So what you want to do is continue a relationship, a family relationship with your male relatives, because she's going to come into the family. In this case, I'm talking about a narcissistic white female that comes into the family through a male in your family. Okay. So she's going to come in through a male, whether it be your son, nephew, cousin, your dad, your grandpa. She's going to come through a male. She may even come through the family through a friend of the family that you've known since childhood. So say you got a best guy friend. So she may come through him, someone that you basically consider as family. So she's going to come through one of these windows of opportunities. And like I said, in general, she normally will qualify as what HD Tudor would call a lesser narcissist. So she's a little out of control. She doesn't, it's going to be real easy to declare that she's narcissistic. For one, she's going to need supply. So she's going to come into the family using and abusing. Narcissistic white females, they will normally also have an assault background, normally upon a man. Hello, Athenshaw. Thank you so much for coming in. This video is about narcissistic white females. And Athenshaw, of course, I live in the United States, right? And we got a lot of narcissistic white females in the United States. We sure do. And they come through the family, through a male. So I have an experience with one that came in my family, narcissistic white female. So as I pointed out, they will be a lesser narcissist. because HG Tudor describes three types of narcissists: the lesser, middle range, and the ultra. Now, the lesser narcissist is broken up in 2 to 3 categories. You have the lower lesser. I think you got a middle lesser and an upper lesser. So the upper lesser narcissist will be one that can maintain a job. So, okay, this narcissistic white female that came through my family, she will be like a lower lesser. This is a woman that ain't never maintained no job. She was in a shelter. My relative met her at a shelter. And the reason my relative met her at a shelter is because he was pretending homeless. Okay. So this is the type of stuff that male relatives in your family, when they're out there experimenting with drugs and trying to play the systematic poverty role, they will go pick up people that will attempt to bring the family down worse. So the thing about my channel is this. I'm what you call sometimes strict. Okay. So I dodge a lot of bullets. Every week there's another death date waiting on me. But I told y'all, I explained death dates to y'all. There will be many death dates, but you're only going to die on one day. So every week, ain't no telling what the Lord in heaven could allow to happen to me. But I know that those are nothing but death dates. So when you get a narcissistic white female that comes into the family, you want to avoid this death date, because that's what it is. It's a death date. You got a white bitch coming into the family that's coming into the family to kill, steal, and destroy. This is a demon. This is Satan. This is Shaitan. This is the fucking devil coming into your family. That's it, and that's all. And you want to handle it accordingly. So I've gone through this journey. This narcissistic white female, she came into my family around 2024. So I first met her approximately around July of 2024. Okay. So my relative met her probably around March 2024, something like that. And so he had known her and was hanging out with her for about 4 or 5 months before I met her in person. So with the narcissistic white female, you don't want to assume that she's narcissistic just because she's white. Okay. You want to meet the person. Don't go meet them right away. So let it ride out. The narcissistic white female, if she's been with your relative like 4 or 5 months, go meet her, but don't bring her to your house. Okay, Afenshaw, I'll see you when you come back. I'm reading this. May I have to eat? Let me see. Let me read the comments too. Afenshaw, I'm sorry. I have to eat dinner. I'll come in like in a few minutes if that's okay. Oh no, I'm not going to end the stream, Afenshaw. Enjoy your dinner. I'll be right here. And remember, you can replay it too. So I'm not going nowhere. So no, it's not going to end. This ain't going to be no quick video. It's going to be on here for a little while. So thank you so much for the like. Afenshaw, if you click the like, thank you. Or if it was not Afenshaw, I normally know Afenshaw will give me a like. But if it was someone else that gave me a like, thank you as well. So narcissistic white female, you must understand why you need to protect yourself and take some of my suggestions. Okay. The reason you want to do this is so you're not part of what I would call systematic poverty. Now, I'm no millionaire. Okay. However, I am not a part of systematic poverty. Okay. And I'll name a couple of reasons I'm not part of systematic poverty. I'm not in debt. I don't owe 50,000 in credit cards. So if you don't want to be involved in systematic poverty, it's not just about getting a welfare check. It's about how you live, or you live above your means. Do you owe 50,000 in credit cards and you know you can't never pay that off? Have you paid off your big bills? Like a few years ago, 2 to 4 years ago, I paid off a $60,000 bill. Got that out the way, paid it off. Paid one major payment of over $7,000 just to pay it off. Or are you doing stuff like that? So understanding systematic poverty, you cannot be filthy rich, but you're not living in systematic poverty, if that makes sense. You live within your budget. Usually your family is provided for through working for corporations, things like that. However, if you need to get some help, you need to get some food stamps or welfare or whatever, do what you got to do. But someone that's not living in systematic poverty, they will always be improving themselves. And their ultimate goal usually will be to save money, no matter where their income is coming from. And I'm talking about legal sources of income. So narcissistic white females, you want to avoid these situations at all costs, because what they're doing is bringing a systematic poverty system to your family. Okay. Two, they're coming into the family. They're a devil. And so they're coming into the family to mess up your background. And this will not be something that they're doing intentionally. A narcissistic white female, there will be a jealousy that will be within her soul as well. And it could be due to many reasons. A narcissistic white female, you may be in a little better shape than her. Most narcissistic white females that are lesser narcissists, they ain't real cutie pies for real. They're traditionally out of shape, morbidly obese. You know, the fat, nasty white bitch is what they usually are. Your male relative just wants something to fuck on. So he goes out. He has no standard. So the reason a narcissistic white female comes into a white or black family, and any race of family, but like I said in the beginning, she will normally target white and black families, especially black families, because we're more likely to mix with her race. Okay. A narcissistic white female that's a lesser narcissist and that's pretty much low class morally, they usually will not believe in the Lord and will be open about it. A narcissistic white female, when she comes into the family, she will be very open with expressing that she don't even love the Lord. You know, when I was growing up and I was a young lady with a man, if I didn't believe in the Lord, I would have been scared to express that. But a narcissistic white female, she's not going to be scared to express that she don't believe in the Lord. And she expects to be blessed by the family, right? So she comes into the family. This narcissistic white female that my relative got with 2024, he got with her around March. By the time September comes, she's taking most of her 300 pound weight and pouncing on him. You know, um, I'm talking to him on the phone. I don't even know if he's alive. I'm speaking his name and I don't know if she's killed him. Okay. So a narcissistic white female is dangerous as hell. She normally will come in with an assault record. She's already jumped on a man. And this is another recommendation. When there's a narcissistic white female coming into the family, even if your male relative was an asshole at times, don't think it's karma. What you want to do is like try to like forgive your relatives in the best way you can. Don't connect that narcissistic white female that come into their life to anything that they did to you. Separate it. So whatever your male relative, whatever problem you had with him, deal with it head on and handle that. But don't think that, oh, well, he's reaping what he sows. That's not what it is. He's only going through it because he picked up a trifling white girl from an environment that he most likely should not have been in. So, a narcissistic white female will normally be a lesser narcissist. So, she lacks temperament control, usually has not worked, maybe living off the welfare system. So one of her goals is to destroy your relative. So a narcissistic white female, the one I met, okay, in this situation, when I first met her, she behaved just like a child. However, just recently, she was texting me saying that that's how my relative act. Now, I talk to my relative almost every day because I've been checking in, but he's not acting like a child at all from my perspective. But this narcissistic white female, she will text me and say he's acting like a child. However, she moved in his place. So, how is he acting like a child? And she was the one actually homeless, and he got his own apartment, and she moved her white ass in my relative place. She's the child because she's the one that is benefiting off our family. She's benefiting off a male that I raised that was able to bring her out of the shelter. So a narcissistic white female has no empathy. She cares nothing about the family. All she cares about is what she wants. Narcissistic white females, when she comes into a black family, there will be this feeling like you're back in slavery. She will do things like hand her bags to you, like you're supposed to be carrying them. She's giving orders in the family, like telling your male relative what to do. She's coming in acting like a slave master. Thank you, Affinshaw, for coming back. Please click a like to whomever's in here. So, a narcissistic white female that comes into the family, like I said, especially a black family, a born and raised black American family that comes from slave ancestry. I come from slave ancestry in the United States of America. So, my generations before me, they were slaves in the United States of America. So for me, a narcissistic white female, the thing is, it ended in 1865, right? So Black Americans, we're no longer in a situation where we have to keep their kids. We don't have to keep white women's kids. We don't have to cook their meals. We don't have to carry their bags anymore. And if a narcissistic white female tries to force me to do that, I can now call the police. This is not prior to 1865 or before 1865, where myself and my family would be beat if we don't help her. But a narcissistic white female, this particular one that came into my family, she behaved like if I don't do it, I'll get beat. She tried to have me and my male relative carrying her bags for her. It felt like some slave shit. So with a narcissistic white female, like I said, you don't want to assume that she's narcissistic. You want to meet her. So to start, this is what I did. Back in July of 2024, I went to my relative's place to meet her for the first time. Okay. A narcissistic white female, it's going to be different than what you may be used to, because she doesn't care if the house is clean, right? I could have busted my head because of all that stuff she got on the floor. It don't matter. I could have went to the room and fell and broke my neck. I mean, I knew to be careful, but the very first time I met this narcissistic white female, I went to my relative's place. And one of the things I did over there was I helped clean up. I encouraged to pick up the things off the floor. There wasn't a whole lot to pick up. So since it's only a little to pick up, why not pick it up? So she doesn't care if you die. She ain't cleaning up. She sat on an air mattress. A narcissistic white female is one of the most laziest bitches you will ever meet in your freaking life. You talking about a trifling ass woman. She sat her big ass on an air mattress. Granted, she was pregnant, but she acts like that when she's not pregnant. Whether she's pregnant or not, she's just lazy. Okay. So with a narcissistic white female, like I said, you don't want to assume that they're a narcissistic white female. You want to go meet her. You have to meet somebody in person. If she's in a serious relationship or living with your male relative, you want to go meet her. Now, the reason it's able to happen and a narcissistic white female is able to come into the family, it will be due to rule breaking. So I'll give you an example. My relative was on a lease, on his own lease. He worked and earned, oh no, Affenshaw, it's okay that you missed some parts. The thing is with lives, I release my lives to the public right away. So the thing is, you can always rewatch it. So don't worry about that. I watch people lives as well, their live videos, and I just go back and rewatch it. That's, it's fine. So thanks for the apology. It is best to watch the whole video, but if you miss some of it, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Just rewatch it. But I do recommend watching the whole video to get an understanding of the story and what's happening. So, and of course, Affenshaw and everybody, y'all know how I am. I do these videos as a protection for y'all and encouragement and giving you my end journey. So if I follow some rules and it works out and it saves me from doing 20 years in the penitentiary, I'm going to tell y'all how I did it, right? Don't you want to know how I did it? Especially if it worked. And it worked. I'm still on this video. Okay. So a narcissistic white female, she comes into the family due to rule breaking. And not rules that I'm breaking. It will be rules that your male relatives are breaking. So, hard-headed ass people. I'll give an example. Okay, Affenshaw, where are you at? Palestine? You live in Palestine, right? So you know how you have those brides um I forgot what you call them, like those like online brides. So what about if over in Palestine you told one of your male relatives, don't get on those online dating sites and try to get one of those overseas brides to marry, right? Because some guys will do that. So yeah, Pakistan. Okay, yeah. So Pakistan. So yeah, and thank you, Afenshaw, for correcting that. So say, okay, so I'm gonna give an example. So over in Pakistan, so say one of your male relatives from Pakistan, you tell him, you say, don't fuck around trying to meet no white bitches online. That's a non-Muslim. Watch out, man. Like, don't fuck around with no non-Muslim um weird white bitches. Because say in Pakistan, there's already been some guys that have already had some bad experiences. And this does happen, y'all. People in Pakistan, just like right now, Afenshaw is here. We all getting the hook up online, right? We interacting online. So there will be white females, narcissistic white females that's trying to get the Pakistan brothers. Okay? It will happen. You gotta view people, Pakistan, they just like black people for real. Every interaction I have from somebody that's like from Pakistan or anywhere over there, that's why they watch my videos. It's just like you interacting with another black person. Okay, so that's how it'll feel. Okay, so a brother, you tell your family, a young male in Pakistan, it could be an older male. You say, look, watch out for these narcissistic white bitches come in over the internet. Be careful. But he's hard-headed. He don't listen. So then he decides to get his passport. So he takes a trip to the United States with the narcissistic white bitch. Okay. And he comes over to the States thinking he's getting ready to be on this happy-go-lucky trip, right? And guess what? He gets over here and the white bitch hides his passport. Okay. Well, see, this is the thing, Afenshaw, with being white. I clarified this in the beginning of the video. That's why you got to go back to the beginning of the video. In the very beginning, I said that this applies to white and black people because I said that a narcissistic white female will generally come into a white family or a black one. If you go back in the very beginning, I ain't gotta lie. So if you go back to the very beginning of my video, I point that out. So white or black, no matter what, if you're in Pakistan, you could still be a target because a white narcissistic female, her primary targets are white and black people. Okay. So I said in the beginning, I'm not like Malcolm X, when Malcolm X said, don't take the white man's drugs. Nobody should take the white man's drugs, whether they white or black. So in the beginning of the video, I stated that that applies to white people as well. Okay, so it's fine to be white. So you really need to listen to this because you're going to attract narcissistic white females in the family. So the way they come into the family is due to rule breaking. So be your white and black males, they break rules. And they break rules like one of the rules could be you're not supposed to be moving people in your place that's not on the paperwork or the lease. Your relative, your male relative that could be highly, well, it's a white man drug. It's kind of like a figure of speech. Afenshaw, that's kind of the way Americans talk when it comes to drugs. So in the United States, going off his history, the white man dropped the drugs in the black community. So in the United States, we call it the white man's drugs because in the United States, that's who started bringing drugs in the inner city black communities. And that's how Malcolm X talked. So that was just the way Malcolm X talked. He got better with it before his death, but he was telling black people, don't get on the white man's drugs. Their cocaine, their heroin, and stuff like that. So okay, so like I said, this video is for everybody because a narcissistic white female can come into usually a white family or black family, but the males in your family are breaking rules. So it allows this demonic energy to come into the family. So Pakistan is in the Middle East is where it's at. I know somebody's asking Afin Shah that, but Pakistan is in the Middle East. As far as I know, if Afin Shah, yeah, so Afin Shah, someone's asking you, where's Pakistan? And I said it's in the Middle East. Is that right? Yeah, I'm just answering it for you, but they're actually asking you that. So narcissistic white females, yeah, next to India. Yeah, exactly. Not too far from India. I always get along with people. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes people that are from other regions, I almost get along with them better than freaking Americans. Even being around people from India, I remember one sister, she was from India, and she loved me so much. She was like, I want to adopt your son, So I've never had a problem with them. Sometimes on set, they'll think I'm their race from a distance. You know what I mean? It's been stuff like that where I had a sister one time. She was from India, and she thought I was from India till I started talking. And I'm like, no, I'm not from India. And of course, she'll know I'm not from India when I start talking. But it was the summertime, and we both got just as brown. So that's how that works. So going back to the video topic with narcissistic white females coming into the family, when the males in your family are breaking rules, so they're breaking rules like they're not staying off drugs, they're not obeying their lease, moving in people, they didn't stay home, they went in the streets, went to shelters, they decided not to live their life the way you raised them. So if they decide, well, I'm not going to work a job, I'm just going to live like a bum, they will attract more narcissistic white females. And ultimately, they're looking for sex. So if your males in your family don't control their sexual habits, they will attract these narcissistic white females. So how do you deal with these situations? This is the way I rode. I went to meet her. To declare someone's a narcissistic white female, you must meet her. Now, don't bring anyone that your male relative is dating to your home. Don't bring them to your home. So what you want to do is go to their home. Don't bring them in your house. Number one rule. This narcissistic white female has never entered my home. I told my male relative, if I see him or her anywhere near my residence, I will go file a restraining order and get the courts and judges involved. And really mean that. When you tell your male relative, if they bring themselves or a narcissistic white female around your residents, really mean what you say. Don't just be saying it as a threat. So, and this has been obeyed. I mean, as far as I know, they've never been around my neighborhood. So, so go meet the person. So I met this girl 3 times around July 2024, August 2024, September of 2024. So there's no standard. She's not going to clean up when you come over. I helped her clean up. When they're with a narcissistic white female, they're taking on another culture and a more less class culture, because they normally will bring in a poor mentality, narcissistic white female. So what I did, first 2 times I went, July of 2024, August 2024, I donated money, bought food, helped clean up. I was friendly, I was kind. We took a trip to the store together, walked around in the sun. I was kind, I was polite. But narcissistic white females, the dress code thing will be lacking. You know, she was running up and down the street half dressed, not dressed appropriately. They just don't have no morals. A narcissistic white female, when they come into the family, they don't care about the elders. They don't care about none of that. Okay. So you want to confirm that they're a narcissistic white female. So the male that's your relative will be disrespectful as well. So if the narcissistic female has a anger management problem or a violent nature, she's going to kind of want to act that out within the family kind of fast. So I met her around July 2024. By the time September of 2024 came, I had a fist in my side. She didn't punch me, but she put her fist just right there to kind of move me out the doorway, because I was trying to protect my relative's place, because he called me and asked for help because he had been assaulted by her. Now, because she's a narcissistic white female, he won't tell on her. So he's actually going through criminal charges right now. So there will be like this favoritism that yeah, Shaw, exactly. Yeah. So now, are they white too as well, Shaw? Since you said there's a lot of narcissist women in our family, they came through the family through the males, right? Because this is who the males hook up with: sons, nephews, and cousins, huh? Is that how they come in your family? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of, and you know what? I kind of like this interaction, because that way y'all know I know what I'm talking about. Now, Shaw is a white male, Pakistani male. Okay. And he's confirming that he got a lot of them in his family. Now, he didn't say the males were narcissists, he said the women. Remember, narcissists like empathic people, they like good people. This is what they're attracted to. They like good people so they can use us. So he's confirming it's a lot of them in his family. But what I'm going over is how to handle this situation. So what you want to do is go meet them. Don't bring them in the home. I met this girl 3 times. July, August, I donated money, bought her food. Now, my male relative is highly narcissistic himself and is disrespectful. So I'll give you one example. I bought them both food. I spent about $112 on the groceries. Use my Visa card. And he'll do things like lie in front of her to assassinate my character. So he'll say, "Oh, you want the money back? You used your food card. I had no food stamps. Wasn't even eligible for food stamps." But this is how he'll lie in front of the narcissistic white girl. So, what a narcissistic male will do when he's with a narcissistic white female is he will try to act like we're lower class than we really are. So, it'll be the opposite. You know how most people kind of want to act more high class, but the male will want to be more low class. So we can be on the level of the narcissistic white female. So she was getting food stamps, not me. So he wanted to devalue the fact that I paid for the groceries with a Visa debit card. So when a narcissistic white female comes into the family, your male relatives will become more and more ungrateful. There will be a level of ungratefulness that's there. So pregnancy occurs. Okay. So the narcissistic white female, she begins getting pregnant. She admits that she's not sure who the father is. There's more than one potential father for each one of her kids. And fine, this happens to a lot of ladies. But the thing is, when a narcissistic white female comes into the family, you want to be very strict. So these are the things that I do. This will save you. Listen to this. When I went over there 3 times, I went once a month, July, August, September. It took 3 months to figure out her nature. Also, when I went over there, she was trying to manipulate her way to get on my relative's lease agreement for his apartment. She's like trying to con us, right? Okay, let me see. Affenshaw said, yeah, our families are rude, narcissistic scammers. Males are also like scammers or even narcissists or like rude. Yeah, they are. But see, this is the thing that's so tricky. With a narcissistic white female, like for example, this narcissistic white female, she would call me mom. So see, she has kind of an advantage over a male because she's a lady, so she can switch gears and start acting like a girl or a lady when she feels like it, right? So to a very naive person, you could really get sucked in. But the thing is how to survive this, because you want to survive it. So you got to understand what things will happen. She's a narcissistic white female. So in the United States, it's one thing that's going to get fucked up when you fucking with a narcissistic white female. And that's your criminal record. Somebody going to get into a fight with her ass. So you want to obey what the police said. By the time September of 2024 came, the police came because I had to call them because of the domestic violence disturbance, because she had attacked my relative at that time. So I got the police involved. They barely wanted to come, but they made sure when the neighbors called, because they thought something was happening to her, they made sure to lock my relative up. So you want to avoid this at all costs. When you're Black, as a Black family, when a narcissistic white female comes into the family, usually the Black person will go to jail. So I already know with a narcissistic white female to be careful, because there's going to be some biasness there potentially. And if I do have a problem with her and get into a fight with her, I need to make sure I already reported her. I just stay away from her. And I reported what she did to my side. Okay, I did, because the police was coming up right after she did it. And she ran from me when she did it. So when she did it, she ran inside my relative's place. But a narcissistic white female, you gotta stay clear of her. In the United States, she gonna fuck up your criminal record, okay? Having you on a probation, stuff like that. Obey the police orders. So the police told me, stay out of there. I never went back. I haven't seen neither one of them since September 2024. With a narcissistic white female that comes into the family, you can't be attracted to a lot of demons. Because if you are prone to liking too much demon energy, you're going to be right back over there in a horrible situation. This narcissistic female, she cusses around me whenever she feels like it. There's just no basic respect. She'll cuss around me whenever she feel like it, yet call me mom. Nobody calls me mom and just cusses around me whenever they feel like it. And I'm gonna point this out to y'all. Y'all hear me using profanity on my videos. But to be honest, I'm just gonna be quite frank. So I'm on a video right now. What are my relatives doing? I have my little makeshift studio in my house. I'm on my video. My family listens to my videos. But see, when I'm in here cussing on this YouTube video, my relatives are asleep right now. So I cuss on my videos here and there because that's just how my platform is. It's a venting place for me as well. However, I don't walk around my house acting like that. In general, I don't use, I use very little profanity when I'm actually living my day-to-day life around the house. The most cussing I do is on my video. I'm not just cursing and using a bunch of profanity just to be using it. If I'm on a phone conversation, I may say one little cuss word if it's appropriate. And we got to be talking about something like fighting or something, having a discussion about a boxing match or something. So in general, and I won't cuss all through my video. If you replay this video, it'll be certain parts where I'll curse or use a curse word, but I'm not doing it the whole video as well. If you counted how many profanity words I used in this video, I guarantee you most of my words will not be profanity. And I keep it entertaining here. But with a narcissistic white female that comes into the family, she just cussing for no reason. She's not entertaining at YouTubers. She's not doing it for content creation. She's not venting. She's just on the phone with me. We talking about something basic. Like there's no need to do all this cursing. It's just straight up trailer park trash. Trailer park trash. Okay, I'm not lying. And I'm just giving you some insight of who I am at my house. I got a teenage son here. I promise you, I'm not walking around my house cussing in front of my son like that. That's not how I raise my children. Right now, this is my thing. This is our YouTube channel. When I say our, I mean the viewers and me. I always say we're an advanced insight team. Okay, so my children are not in this makeshift studio with me right now. So this is the most of my profanity and cussing. I'm doing it right here on YouTube. This is where I'm doing it at. But when I'm living my day-to-day life, I'm not walking around my house just cussing all day. Because I'm the leader of the home, I got to be telling people in the house, watch their mouth. So please understand this. So when a narcissistic white female comes into the family, this motherfucking bitch just cussing like you ain't never heard in your life. And I also want to point this out. When I'm interacting with a narcissistic white female that comes into the family, unless I'm cussing her out, which I've had to do, okay? because this is a disrespectful, unclassy piece of work. Okay, so, and she's young. So, what I do, I'm always kind of setting an example. So, even though she's a narcissistic white female, I understand that she ain't really got no mother in her life, and all of her family members are in a no contact with her. Now, she claims that she cut them off, but I bet if I talk to some of them family members, they'll say they cut her off. But it's the norm. Since she's a narcissistic white female, her family members are most likely narcissistic as well. So they're not going to get along with each other. So there's this, you know, and it's the way she cusses, right? So let me try to give you an example. I can't cuss like her. Okay, I just can't pull it off. But let me see how she might cuss. Okay, I'll try to mock her because I am good with mocking people. So let me try to do a white voice. So okay, she's on the phone because I do a lot of phone interactions with her and my male relatives. So I'm gonna try to imitate kind of like a white person in the United States. So okay, she'll be in the background. Where is that fucking shit? Fucking shit. Did you see that shit? Pick that fucking shit up. Stupid ass fucking shit. Fuck's going on here? This is unbelievable shit. Stupid ass motherfucking shit. Like, kind of like that. Like, every word will be a curse word. Every single word. It's just, this is how she talks, right? And she'll know no respect. No respect. So, and then she'll like do this. She'll say, because she's not my biological daughter. She's a narcissistic white female that's came into the family. So she'll say, she know I done told her to stop cussing around me like that. So with a narcissistic white female that comes into the family, it will be certain things I'll have to tell her that a traditional black person will already know. Like a traditional black girl, just the way we was raised, we just know not to be cussing all in front of somebody's elder, right? But a narcissistic white female, this is not necessarily the way she was trained up because, like I said, she's a lesser narcissist. A narcissistic white female that's coming into a white or black family, this is not a high class bitch. You're not bringing in somebody of high class nature. And I mean morally, even morally, she's not high class. High class ain't just riches. What are they morals like? So she'll do that fake apology stuff. I'm sorry, mom. The bitch is not sorry. Right? And she does all of that on purpose to bluntly disrespect me. She wants to overtly disrespect me. A narcissistic white female, when they come into the family, they don't care nothing about the family. So what I do is this. She's never entered my residence. Never. I will never bring her in my residence. A narcissistic white female, she can never come to my residence, even if she marries into the family. So one of the hardest things about a lot of people that will be a downfall for them is they're not strict enough. So a narcissistic white female, I avoid a lot of bad stuff because I am strict. So I don't waver against what I know. I went over there, I gave her a chance, I met her. Was around her 3 times. It took 3 months for her to show her ass and to show how toxic she is. And remember, she comes into the family due to let me see, what's the correct word? Perversion. Okay, so a narcissistic white female, she's perverted. So she's in your family because she's taught your relatives to do weird stuff. She gives them drugs. If he hasn't had a threesome, she's going to let him have a threesome. She's going to give him whatever he ain't had to turn him out. Okay. And if your male relative is highly narcissistic, he's going to actually respect the bitch. Now, he might not respect her later in life if he ever changes his life for the better. So a narcissistic white female, they will pick them up from certain environments, shelters, bars, the streets, literally outside. They will pick them up from shelters, bars. Some narcissistic white females, they pick them up when they're buying sex from them if the narcissistic white female is a prostitute. Narcissistic white females, that's a lesser narcissist, which is the lower narcissist. They usually will not be found at the church, concerts, or even a bowling alley. So there's certain environments where it's gonna be more narcissistic white females. So if your male relatives enter into these environments, shelters, bars, buying prostitutes, they will be more likely to pick up a narcissistic white female. So what happens is they've been ensnared. So the way I dealt with it, I live like this. I live very strict. Okay. I was called strict by a mentor back in 2022. And he wasn't saying it as a form of disrespect. He was a black man and he said, "You're strict." And I am. And it saves me. So the area I'm strict in is, I know she's a narcissistic white female. So what happens with me is she can't earn her way to get closer to me. There's no earning. Because of this, she's a narcissistic white female. She's a narcissist. So she can't, I'm being nice by calling her narcissistic, but she's an actual narcissist from H.G. Tudor's standpoint. And he's right. She would be considered a lesser narcissist. So a narcissistic white female, she can't earn her way into my home. She got one time to violate me. And of course, she did that with the fist. She's already touched me. She's touched my body. So it's over with her. She can't earn her way in my home. And I'm going to stay out of her home. So to stop the abuse of a narcissistic white female, you must be strict. Okay. Let me read the comments here. Hold on, y'all. I'm just catching up on comments. So, okay, I got those comments from Affenshaw. Oh, let me see. Jim H, 6254. You're welcome. So, Jim H, that was a nice comment. Let me read Jim H comment. Jim H says, thanks for the quality content. I enjoy watching your stream while taking my morning dump. That's cute. Yeah, get that dump out. I'm all for the bowel movements. Yes, that is number one, cleaning your body out. So yes, get that morning dump on. Thank you so much, Jim H, 6254, for the kind comment and just for being down to earth here. So Affenshaw, the story is of course about narcissistic white females. Affenshaw said he lives in Pakistan. Okay, Aaron Johnson. I answered that question on why it's considered a white man's drug. It was just a figure of speech that Malcolm X would use, just referring to the white man facilitating a lot of their preference of wanting the black race on drugs. You know, it goes back to the mobsters, right? When the Italians, so called in The Godfather or other mobster movies, talk about dropping drugs in the black community where the so called niggers are at. This is what the Italian mobsters, this is how they would talk about the black race. But it backfired because white people got on their drugs, right? So the Italian mob, originally their goal was to subject the black race to dope, but it went in the white community as well. So their dream backfired because their own people got to. European Americans that live in the United States were subjected to up heroin and everything. They were going through the same stuff black men and women were. So I answered the question. So thank you, Aaron Johnson, 3760, for the question about why is it a white man's drug. So hopefully I answered that. Aaron Johnson, yes, you're in the United States. That's a good thing. So Affenshaw, thank you for always being friendly to people that's in the chat. Affenshaw, you know what? He always makes my viewers feel welcomed. I appreciate that about you, Affenshaw. Thanks for saying hello to Aaron Johnson, 3760. Okay, that was nice of Affenshaw to say hi to him. I appreciate that. Because, you know, sometimes people staying in the chat and staying on the live because other people that's on the live are polite to them. Somebody might be staying here and they can't stand my ass, but you like Affenshaw. So let me see. I'm still checking these comments, y'all, because I got quite a few, so I want to be up to date on them. Okay, so 3311 asks where is Pakistan? We answered that. Affenshaw answered that as well. So 3311 asks, is Pakistan next to India? Affenshaw answered yeah, because he's originally from Pakistan. So he's best to answer that. I've never been to Pakistan. However, I do communicate with people that's originally from Pakistan here. So Affenshaw, thank you for saying hello to 11. 3311, thank you for saying hello to Affenshaw. And then Affenshaw says, yeah, how do we handle it? Yeah, there's so many narcissist women in our family. Okay, I went over that already. And then I read Affenshaw comment about the male scammers as well. Rude narcissists. Affenshaw says narcissists are rude. Oh yeah, Affenshaw, when you said these women can take over men, yeah. So narcissistic white females, they will have your male relatives acting like they're kind of possessed, y'all. Yeah, they take them over. That's why I call them a demon. When a narcissistic white female comes into your family, come over and he's gonna almost be worse. On the surface, it may look like he's improving in some small areas, but overall, they do take the men over. And they have to do it through sexual perversion. Okay, so your male relative gets trapped with the narcissistic white female through the dirty, nasty things that she's gonna allow him to do. So if he never had anal sex, she's gonna let him fuck her in her nasty ass. If and she will do this strategically. She will purposely allow him to do sexual things to her to create a trauma bond of perversion. If he hasn't really had his dick sucked a lot, she'll do that. If he hasn't had a threesome, she'll do that. If he seems resistant and he's kind of getting annoyed with her, she'll keep him doped up. She'll buy him his vapes. She'll buy him his cocaine. She'll buy him his liquor. It's a demon. So when a demon comes in your family, you don't entertain it. What you should not be doing is watching her destroy your male relative. So you want to be in a physical no contact with preferably them both. And I will explain more about that. Let me see. Okay, so Afenshaw says in Islam, there is no heaven for these type of people, even if they have good deeds, because these bad deeds will outweigh their good deeds. So be nice. Yeah. So, and Afenshaw is saying people should be nice, not me being nice because he knows I'm nice, just in general. So I agree with that. I agree with the concept of Islam that these people are not getting into Jannah, which is Arabic for heaven. And I like that Afenshaw mentions that because a lot of people read their Bible. And as Christians, a lot of Christians or people that are following the Bible, they believe Jesus forgiving everything and these fools going to heaven. And it's not true. So, and if you really, really look in your Bible, the Bible even says they ain't going into no heaven, but someone that knows the religion of Islam may be more logical. So I agree with Afenshaw. It ain't no heaven for them, right? They ain't going to no heaven. Okay, so it's healthy to understand this, to stay away from these people. So someone, let me see, Al Kioha. So Al Kioha, Q6C called them parasites, called the narcissistic white females parasites. Okay, thank you for that comment. And then Afenshaw says they're not sorry. Like Ask Me Man, they're so manipulative. Yes, narcissistic white females are very manipulative. Like I said, this one that I'm talking about, she calls me mom, y'all. Even right now to this day, I ain't seen this woman since September 2024. And I mean 2024, y'all, not 2025, not last year, the year. And she still will call me mom on the phone. And it ain't because she loved me. See, the thing with me is I know the game, right? It's manipulation. It's not love. So, okay. So Afenshaw says, yeah, my cousins are so manipulative. Like they will act nice around you. Yep. In everyone's family, there will be manipulative cousins. They're in my family as well. Not all cousins will be manipulative, but yes, many of them will be, along with siblings as well. Siblings can be the same. And Afenshaw, when he says these women will take over men, very, very crucial. That's very strong. And that's where like the man is almost like possessed. Okay, so I'm caught up on all comments. Thank you, Afenshaw, for always participating in the chat. And Al Kiaha, thanks for your comment about the parasites. Let me see if I missed anyone. 3311, thank you so much for your comments. And then Aaron Johnson, thank you so much for your comments. And then, oh, okay, I missed one here. Ilmek, 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 do a flip. Okay. So he says do a flip. I guess that means show your face or whatever. Thank you so much for the comment, Ilmek. Okay. Ash Smith says do a flip. I guess that means show your face. And then Affenshaw, thank you. Again, Jim H, 6254, thank you. Yep, so I'm caught up on all the comments. So all questions are welcomed here. If there's something I'm saying, I like when somebody asks a genuine question, you know, like when someone asks, why is it the white man's drug? Ask stuff like that. On here, when I use certain like phrases and stuff, ask what I mean. It's okay. I'll respect the person for asking why I'm saying it that way instead of attacking me and assuming. Ask, especially if you don't hear people say it a lot. Figure out what they're saying so you can get a better understanding of the way it's being meant, so you don't take it out of proportion. So, is there any questions? Any questions, y'all, before I go on with the subject matter? Okay, hold on one second, y'all. I'm just checking more of the comments. Okay, y'all think of a question too. That way, any question you have, I can answer it. Okay, thank you, Affenshaw, for responding for not for me. So, and Affenshaw, I want to also thank you for bringing spirituality to this channel, right? And always validating, you know, the way I think. I mean, that comment you made about Islam is so powerful because it's definitely more realistic. See, you got to really see Affenshaw. This part of Islam is very logical, right? He said there's no heaven for these type of people, even if they have good deeds. So that's the truth. A lot of people are gonna have a lot of good deeds and go to hell. It's the type of soul they got. They, first of all, for one, they're not gonna do many good deeds. Like this narcissistic white female that's coming into the family, she ain't doing no good deeds in my family. There's no good deeds she's doing. Getting people in the criminal justice system. So what I do, I'm strict, right? So I avoid a lot of demons through strictness. So it's one time, you just got one time. That's it. So she's already touched my body. I actually suffered a 2-week injury from it, y'all. She didn't even punch me. It's just she's so big and it caught me off guard. And she ran when she did it. Soon as she did it, she ran into my relative's apartment. The police came up right when she did it. Another rule, when there's a narcissistic white female in the, as you're going through the process, never go to their residence without support. So I thought about this a few hours ago, right? It's a good thing I brought a witness with me. Maybe if I didn't have another relative with me, maybe she would have just punched me and knocked me down. So when there's a narcissistic white female in the family, never go alone, especially once you know for sure it's a narcissistic white female. No, you're not annoying at all, Shaw. You ain't annoying me. Come on now. I'm more grateful than that. You are not annoying. You're participating. See, I'm not one of those crazy YouTubers where I'm attacking my audience. How can you be on YouTube and people that are nice or annoying? No, no one's that's nice is annoying me. I'm very empathic. If you kind to me, you are never annoying me. And I mean that from my heart. Now, this narcissistic white female bitch, this bitch is annoying. Because I don't like her fucking personality. Yeah, thank you, Shaw. And I'm just being honest. I'm being honest, really. But I'm going to tell you what's annoying is this narcissistic white female bitch. This bitch is fucking annoying. And so what needs to happen is when someone's annoying, don't fuck with them at all. You're going to get cases. You're going to get charges. You're going to get police reports. You're going to beat their ass or you're going to beat up. You're going to get beat up. So they're going to come out of it. Yeah, exactly, Shaw. I am very honest. Yeah, I'm very grateful, right? Long as I know the person's intentions are well, it's no way. You know what? Look, you just talked about heaven. You talking about heaven. You just left me that comment. So if you annoy me, I'm a demon. That's how now look, check this out. If you talk about heaven on this channel and then you annoying me, that means I'm equivalent to the narcissistic white bitch. I'm on the level as this hoe. So no, you're not annoying me at all. But this narcissistic white female is. But I'm minimizing how much she annoys me. So it's getting to the point like this, y'all. This is the thing with this narcissistic white female. It's also how the male is going to act like he's taken over and possessed. So one of the things I do is I stay in phone contact with my male relative. So don't allow a narcissistic white female to run you off completely at first. But over time, this is what you will have to stop. Now, my male relative, he likes to show out over the phone with the narcissistic white female. So he likes to show out and kind of like lie a little bit, right? Or make something appear in a way where it didn't really happen that way. Now, you have a good, beautiful day too, Shaw, and God bless you as well. So just rewatch the live. Okay, you can rewatch it whenever. And so when someone's kind of like fronting you off or trying to embarrass you or devalue you or humiliate you in front of someone else, you want to be careful with making phone contact. After they do that a few times and you see a pattern. So like there was a pattern made yesterday where my male relative, he was talking about, he just told a total lie. Okay, it was a total lie. What I've been doing this past week is controlling my temper. So through controlling your temper, you'll be more likely to end up being in a complete no contact. You got to control your temper so you can see the pattern of the behaviors. If you're totally out of control, you won't see the patterns. And so you want to calm down. So when your male relative is kind of like turned on you when they're with a narcissistic white female, they're going to try to present it like you're as low as the narcissistic white female. So for example, okay, I'm going to give you I worked my entire life and raised my children through working a job, working more than one job sometimes. But I always would at least have one job. Now, the narcissistic white female, she's never had a job. She's never been employed. So what my male relative will do is he will devalue the fact that I was a working mother. He will say that that was bad. He will actually, my narcissistic male relative will promote not working and say he's doing a better job being a male that doesn't even provide for the narcissistic white female or her children. He will uplift poverty and disgust and perversion. He will uplift those three things over quality because that's his speed now. He's not respecting quality people. And that's because now, like Afenshaw said originally, they'll take him over. So it's like a demon possession, almost like a male that sold his soul out. I think getting with a narcissistic white female for a black male, that might be the closest he could ever get to soul out. Truly. I truly believe this. He almost like becomes possessed. So the thing in these situations, you must become strict. Strictness is key. So strictness would involve a narcissistic female cannot earn her way in your house. That's permanent. So the way I avoid these kind of demons at all costs is my rules are permanent, not temporary. I know she's a narcissistic white female, so she never comes in the home. Never. And I wouldn't care if, and this is another thing about me. I'm strict in this area too. You can't present no kids and get in my house. See, if the children come from the narcissistic white female, you might want to get out the grandparenting situation too. A narcissistic white female, she doesn't feel like she has to prove if the kids are even DNA related. And she can say that there's other potential fathers. To a narcissistic white female, I'm just a nigga bitch. So she ain't feeling like she got to prove shit to me. I avoid these demons at all costs. I'm to the point in my life, I don't care what kids they got. I don't hate their kids. I have no hate energy for no children, but I am not going to destroy the rest of my life taking care of some ungrateful, narcissistic white female babies. Don't get sucked in by their kids. This is why Black women in the United States is the number one female to get murdered, especially by a Black male. Don't fall for the kid trap. The thing is, I'm strict in this area. It's not your children. You should be keeping your own children. If you got 30-year-olds, focus on your 30-year-olds. 20-year-olds, focus on your 20-year-olds. And this is the thing with the type of mother I am. A narcissistic white female that comes into the family, one of the things that she likes to do or would prefer me to do is to stop tending to my own family and spend all my time over there with her babies. Now, this is the thing that saves me from the situation. I'm the type of mother, the same stuff I do with you when you're 5 years old. So if I took you to McDonald's to eat a strawberry cream pie, and that's one of our outings, if you allow me to and we're close, we can eat the same strawberry cream pie when you're 35 at McDonald's. I don't don't parent like narcissists where you do all this stuff for them when they kids, but then when they grown, you act like they aliens. That's highly narcissistic. So what I do, I'm consistent. So because I parent that way, because I have a functional, healthy relationship with my relatives, no matter how old they are in my house, I don't care if you're 40 years old. If you my relative and you in my house, I spend time with you. So having that quality about my personality makes me prevent ensnarement with narcissists. So I'm going to kick off or be able to avoid a narcissistic white female because I'm focused on my own family, not her family. Because a narcissistic white female, her goal is to take you from what you're doing. She's a distraction. She wants all of your time, most of your money. And while you're giving this stuff to her, she wants to cuss whenever she wants to, be disrespectful, beat up on your relative, get everybody locked up, while making sure if she's violent or aggressive, she never goes to jail. A narcissistic white female is highly manipulative and means the family no good. Another thing I'm strict on, and I would suggest this, okay? It happened naturally in my family because they're busy and stuff. But one of my suggestions that will work, if there's a narcissistic white female coming into the family, it's probably best if most of your family members are not in contact with the male narcissist she's with. So what this will do is this will allow everyone to focus on their own lives and not be in disputes where people going to jail for fighting each other. So for example, where we at right now, we all kind of focused on our own life. So the narcissistic white female, the relative that she's with, is not in a active communication with other relatives that live in the home. So this is probably best to keep that kind of separated. It's a conflict of interest. A narcissistic white female, I would not introduce her to anyone in my family. So when a narcissistic white female comes into the family, do not treat her like she's your family. She doesn't mean you any good. So the mistake would be to treat her as family. Half the time, she ain't even married to your relative. And this is the criteria with this. I don't go off no paperwork. So, okay, if they decided to get married next week, if this narcissistic white female comes into the family, that may be one of her goals, to marry your relative. If she marries your relative, you still do not treat her like family. Keep her out of your residence. She's still a narcissistic white female. She's trouble. And the ultimate reason you want to do it this way is so that you and other relatives are not getting involved with the criminal justice system. Don't hang around the narcissistic white female children as well. That way you're not involved in the CPS cases. And this narcissistic white female, she's getting CPS cases left and right. I ain't called on her. I don't need to. She got potential other baby daddies doing it. She got case managers that may be doing it. Whomever is calling, neighbors. Okay, whomever is calling. So narcissistic white females, the thing is, you have to have priorities in your life. Like even me doing this YouTube video, that's more of a priority than a narcissistic white female. She's not your responsibility. This is something that your relative has taken on. You don't have to be bothered with her. And you don't have to do it just because they get married. She's a narcissistic white female and you should be in no contact. You know why a lot of people are unalived? They see all these red flags. She didn't touch my side. She's cussing. She's already jumped on my male relative to the point I thought he was dead that day. Some people will go through all of this, and then 2 years will go by and they say, oh, well, let's invite her over for dinner. That's why so many murders in the United States. There's no permanent finding and decision made that somebody is bad. They permanently bad. There's no forgiveness in earning her way back. She never earned her way to be considered a good person in the first place. But like I said in the beginning of the video, what I do advise you to do, if you don't know much about the lady, is to go to your male relative's home to get to know the lady. And I don't mean get to know her for 3 years, y'all. Narcissistic females, narcissistic white females, I met this girl 3 times and she showed her hand. I didn't need to be around her long. She's a lesser narcissist, like H.G. Tudor would say. So with a narcissistic white female, July 24, I was there. August 2024, I was there. By September 2024, she putting her fist on my side. That quick. Within 90 days, this narcissistic white female showed who she was. Now, what's happening now is I suggest keeping in contact with your male relative. But with the narcissistic white female, she's monitoring every phone conversation you have with your male relative. And she'll do this with other people too. Like, I won't be the only one she'll monitor the conversation. Every word he's saying to me, she's monitoring it. She's supervising it. And she will do it if he's other friends and family too. Other people will pick up on, I can never talk to him without her listening in. This is how this will go. So with a narcissistic white female, there's no privacy. She's listening to everything. And she will jump in the conversation, start talking whenever she wants to. With me, she definitely, this narcissistic white female, she has a lot of hostility towards me because of the way I do things and the way I stay out of her, I stay out of her environment and I stay out of her trauma, her environment, and I stay out of her presence. Another thing with narcissistic white females, when they come into the family, you want to set an example, especially if they are victimizing Black people. So with this narcissistic white female, she's victimizing Black people. So one of the ways she victimized them is through having them do services for her. Like one Black sister, she's a dark-skinned, pretty sister too. She went when this narcissistic white female gave birth to her first child. I was supposed to go, but I was blessed not to go because she had already touched my side with her fist. Just touch me, not punch me. She had already did that. So I didn't go. When somebody put their fist on your side, whether they punch you or not, you don't hang out with them. You don't go watch them have a child. That's irrational. Narcissistic white females, Black people got to stop acting like slavery has came back and you're forced to help them. You no longer have to watch them have their babies. You don't have to be a midwife when they had their children. So with narcissistic white females, one of the things I do on purpose, I do this on purpose, and I do it as a part of my empathy. So one of the strategies I use when I know that there's a narcissist involved, I will notate mentally who the empaths or that narcissistic white female is around. So, okay, as an empath, I will know who the other empaths are because it will be empaths or empathic people that are helping them. So, what I do, one of the things about empathic people, we're watching how people behave when they're around narcissists. So that there was this adopted sister that my relative had. My male relative that's with the narcissistic white female. So there was this dark skinned, pretty, pretty girl that my male relative was like her play brother. Okay. So she ended up going when the narcissistic white female had her first child. Okay. So the dark skinned sister is being used and manipulated. So what I did, I'm not going to lie, I wanted to meet the dark skinned sister. That was the play sister of my relative, right? But I didn't go meet her. And I do this on purpose. It's not the first time I did it. I did it on purpose because I want her to follow my actions so she can free herself. So what I do is I take a stand for all the other empaths. Because over time, you're going to figure out I'm empathic. And you're going to be like, she ain't coming around this shit. So the sister got pulled in, the dark-skinned sister got pulled in to go watch this narcissistic white female have her first child. I was almost going to be the victim of this. Thank the Lord, I didn't go see no narcissistic white female have a child. Now, a normal white female, if I was in a situation like one of the sisters at the church have a baby, that's different. But a narcissistic white female, no. I don't want to see no narcissistic white female have no baby. So the dark-skinned sister got pulled in and went to the childbirth. I almost got pulled in, but I got lucky because before she gave birth, she touched my side. So I backed out. I'm strict. You touch me one time, I'm out the situation, right? So I hear like an alarm, y'all, going off. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. Hear down, down, down. It's like the alarm, y'all. Hold on. Please click a like too, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Thank you so much for y'all patience. So, with the narcissistic white female, in this situation, she has other victims that are black. Because, like I said in the beginning, her targets will be white or black people. This will be her preference. A narcissistic female will be able to pull in her own, which is other white people. And actually, she may struggle because other white people are going to know what she is. So, a narcissistic white female, if she's struggling to pull in other white people, then she goes to the black race. Because the black race always feeling sorry for somebody. And it's just out of control, the way we feel sorry for people. Thank the Lord I've improved it. And I know who to help and who not to help. And I think I've always kind of had that trait in me. So this one dark-skinned sister went and watched her have her baby. So I know that dark-skinned sister is being ensnared and used by that narcissistic white female. So what I do, and I did it on purpose, and it worked, y'all. It worked. I completely stay away, but I call. So the sister, the dark-skinned sister that went to see the narcissistic white female have her baby, I know that dark skinned sister being used. So what I did, I keep phone contact. I kept phone contact with my male relative, and the dark skinned sister would be over there at the house. But one of the things she gonna notice is that I do not come around. The dark skinned sister gonna pay attention to the I don't come around. Okay. Now, this is important because you're saving other empathic people. And that's always my goal. So what I do is I lead by example. And then what'll happen is, say hypothetically, the dark-skinned black girl told someone like her mom or family, well, you know, Miss Irene, she don't come around the situation. Somebody might tell her, you better follow Miss Irene and get your ass up out that situation. So when I see another person that has empathy, and she has empathy because the dark skinned sister has empathy. That's why she was tricked into going to see this narcissistic white female have a baby. Your empathy is what tricks you into that, and emotional thinking and not using logic. See, I've been able to lower my emotional thinking and be more logical. I use more logic. I know how to balance that out now. So the dark skinned sister, she don't come around no more. She's done with both of them, the narcissistic white female and my relative. She ended up getting with a black guy with some dreads, I heard, and they got a little baby now. So the dark skinned, pretty black sister, I set an example for her, and I did it on purpose. I'm very strategic. I'm showing you I don't come around so you can get yourself from around that narcissistic white female as well. And I would do this even if it was a black narcissist. That's how I protect empaths. They see I bounce, they bounce. I'm very protective of empathic people, and I do it without speaking. I have a video on passive aggressive language, and I speak through a lot of passive aggressive language. Why does this freaking alarm keep going off, y'all? What is going on? So I use a lot of passive aggressive language. So that's how I protect other empaths, by leading by example. That's what I do. So narcissistic white females come into the family. Some people might struggle with this. Once you realize it's a narcissistic white female, they don't belong in your house. That will be a decision that I'm highly recommending that you make permanent. If not, death, serious injury, and misery and loss of financial stability can come out of it. You want to also prevent them from stealing from you as well. A narcissistic white female, the problem with these situations is she's not treated like a hood rat, right? So if it's a black sister that's a straight up grimy hood rat and a gutter hood rat, I know not to bring that grimy hood rat or gutter hood rat. This is just terminology saying she like steal, she on the bad side of life, she on a lot of dope. I wouldn't bring no hood rat up in my house, right? You got to treat a narcissistic white female the same way. It don't matter how innocent she look. It don't matter that she ain't got on no weave. She damn near more dangerous than the hood rat. For real, you got to put her in the same category. And this is the mistake. that a lot of black people especially will make when a narcissistic white female comes in the family. They say, oh, well, she not like a hood rat. They don't understand. You got to treat them both the same, white or black. If a black man come to my door and he a stranger, I'm not going to let him in, right? I got to treat the white man the same way that's claiming he a Mormon that's at my door. Both are treated the same. They both males. And this is a mistake that will often be made with narcissistic white females. When they come in a black family, we're not willing to treat them like the hood rat they are. See, this is the difference. If I'm dealing, if one of my male relatives get with a black hood rat and me and her get to boxing, then if it's self-defense, I might not go to jail. But when it's a narcissistic white female, even though I'm in good standing with the police, I'm always at risk. Race matters. Race does matter. So when you are dealing with a narcissistic white female coming into the family, you have to be very mindful. So these are some things that's saving me from the situation. It's being strict. Okay, so narcissistic white female. I give her nothing. And I mean nothing. But a friendly hello. I'll let her call me mom sometimes. But I give her nothing. No money. No time. I don't hang out with her. You almost need to pray. You might need to pray. And this is one thing I have not done yet, is do a prayer for the Lord to remove her from my family. If she's a narcissistic white female and I really feel like she like the devil, I should be praying for the removal of her in my family. And I have not done that. So doing some kind of prayer of protection. Okay. So I would start there, and I'll do that right now. Dear God, my Heavenly Father and Lord in heaven, the one that means us all, please protect my family from this particular narcissistic white female. Please protect me always from this particular narcissistic white female, Lord. I appreciate you and thank you so much. And I appreciate you sending your son, Jesus Christ, to help us all. And I appreciate you so much. So with a narcissistic white female, you want to do a prayer of protection. I just did one right there. I'll do one later as well. Please click a like. Don't give them no money, none of your time. Don't hang out with them. So with a narcissistic white female that comes into the family through one of your males, you don't want to develop an attachment. And the reason that will help you in the long run is because there's areas in the legal arena that I would like to start supporting my male relative more to protect our entire family. So you don't want to be attached to a narcissistic white female that comes into the family. She's came into the family, but she's not your family. So with a narcissistic white female, you want to view her as not family. And the way you can keep that all consistent is not hanging out with her. Don't be up and down. Don't hang out and not hang out. Narcissistic white females, don't grandparent any of their children until they prove DNA. And I don't care how much the child looks like your relative. If you think the child looks like your relative, before you grandparent or consider grandparenting, prove DNA. My situation, because of my goals with preferring to live a life narcissist free, I will not grandparent. If a white narcissistic white female had a child with one of my relatives, no matter which relative it is in the family, I don't get involved with narcissistic white females' children. I don't care if the child is blood related to me. I don't get involved with the child at all. And that's because my ultimate goal is to live a life not being ensnared and abused and violated and mistreated by narcissists. So, since that is my ultimate goal, and I'm loving this journey, to live the second half of my life or to live my last years in peace and happy. So, with me, you can do what you want to do, but with me, I choose not to deal with their kids. So this narcissistic white female, I ain't met her kids at all. When I first met her, she was pregnant and she has at least 2 or more children now. I have not met her children in person because me not being involved in her CPS cases is more important to me. See, I got financial goals too. I have job related goals, financial goals, and none of that involves being involved in somebody's CPS cases. At some point, you're getting too old to have any of this crap on your record. So, the way I'm not involved in this is by not meeting the kids. So, see, the thing is, if it's a narcissistic white female and you meet the kids, she could lie on you. So if you get a call from CPS and some report come through, what sounds better? Telling CPS, look, I ain't never met these children. Or, oh, I just was around them twice. See, now you have met the kids, so you are a potential abuser. But if it's a narcissistic white female and you never meet her children, or you are not around her children at all, or have not been around her children for a very long time, you are not liable and you will not be convicted of anything you didn't do. A narcissistic white female that comes into the family, you're at risk of getting accused of something you didn't do. Not just you, but the male relative as well. So, so these are some guidelines that I followed and I will continue to follow. And another thing, the male relative that the narcissist white female is with, if he threatens you, report it. Report it every time. Any man that's threatening you, give them a chance, ask them to stop it. So if you do that again, I'm going to call the police. And if they do it again, call the police and just put it on file. You don't have to press charges against your male relative if you have not been assaulted, but put the threat on file. Always do that. So these are things and areas I'm strict in. And in summary, one of my ultimate protectors is keep them out of your residence. However, I advise, like I said in the beginning, any female that's coming into the family that you're getting to know and you don't know well, at least go meet them. Then once you declare that it's a narcissistic, and in this case, white female, you get out of the situation and you do not return. You're going to avoid a death date. What do y'all? There's many death dates, right? Remember, I don't believe in that Bible. You just got one death date and that's just the day you're going to die. You got many death dates. And so you're just avoiding a death date. If a male relative brings a narcissistic white female into the family, you're just avoiding a death date. You're not going to get killed. Nobody going to die. Now, you must be prepared. You always want to be prepared when anyone in your family is making a conscious choice and they interact with a narcissistic white female. Be prepared for the worst call in the world. Be prepared for a call that says he's been murdered by her. Be prepared for the call that says he's incarcerated for a lot of years, especially when the male won't escape soon enough. Be prepared for serious injury or hospitalization. Be prepared for the male relative to be paralyzed sometimes. Pray about this too. Pray for the protection of your family. However, because your male relative will not leave a narcissistic white female, they are entering into a potential death date that they're creating. It's not their time to go, they're creating it. So they're gonna potentially be at risk of an early death date. Like I tell y'all or teach, there's many death dates you will have. But you do have something to do with which death date is permanent based on your moves. So, me, I don't have this male narcissist or this narcissistic white female in my residence. So, I am avoiding an early death date. So, hopefully, this helps you, give you some insight on interacting with the narcissistic white female that comes into the family. So I'm going to move on with my day, y'all. And of course, I'll be doing another live. I'll always keep the live going. Y'all know that. And thank you for tuning in. And let me check the comments before I exit here. Let's see here. I didn't understand what happened, ing. Again, Afin Shaw and everyone, thank you so much. And Afin Shaw, just tune in for the live later. I appreciate all your support here. Please click a like again. Please click a like, y'all. So hopefully this helps. Narcissistic white females and what to do when they come into your family, and giving an example of some real life situation. And I'm going to reiterate once again, stop letting people drain your pockets, right? I don't care if you got 80,000 sitting in the bank. Stop giving your money out. Okay? Stop giving your money out. I give nothing. Okay? I give nothing but some phone time, and as the fronting me off and the lies and disrespect that the male narcissist will do when he's on the phone with me, it's gotten a little better, but he still will attack and devalue my parenting. And it's stupid stuff, like saying somebody that's not watching their weight, that's not doing much, not even cleaning the house, never worked, let people smoke dope all in front of her kids. No morals. She don't even love the Lord, she says. She doesn't even believe in a God. So there's nothing that she's teaching her kids. So with narcissistic white females, they've convinced the male that their way is better. So, and in these situations, have more confidence. So I sat on the phone, I listened to it yesterday. He always uplifts the welfare, not cleaning up, doing dope around the kids. The male, even though he was taught different, in his mind, that's why they call it twisted minds, y'all. In a twisted mind, they believe what they're saying. Narcissistic white females will also have the male believing that the crimes they're committing, they won't get caught. If there's a no contact order, whatever they're doing, the narcissistic male that's with a narcissistic white female, he will believe he's not going to get caught. And she will encourage that behavior. A narcissistic white female that comes into the family, if your male relatives end up in prison or jails. All she's concerned about is getting her needs met, and she cares nothing about your family, especially a black family. And if she's allowed to come in a white family, she will care nothing about the white family as well. So hopefully this helps. Narcissistic white females. I gave you the trick. I'm following it to this day. I haven't seen this chick since September 2024. I'm on a good road. Don't need it in my life. Um, I don't care if she started having birds. I don't want to have nothing to do with her. I watched my grandmother deal with that, y'all. One of the things you want to learn from your elders, right? And my grandmother, she subjected herself to things that she just should not have been bothered with. Um, Trying to provide for other people's children. Overall, I tried my best to respect my grandmother. I wasn't cussing at her. I didn't threaten her. I didn't do any of that. But my grandmother did not have that experience with all relatives. Be careful about taking care of people's children. That is one thing I learned from my grandmother, especially when she lost her restaurant. Let these people take care of their own children. And if you are taking care someone's children, especially as a grandmother, and you lose your business and you go bankrupt, get that child back to those parents. It is not right when you had two parents. I watched my grandmother do this. She had my mother was not a drug addict, okay, and my little sister's father was not a drug addict. Both of them was capable of taking care of my sister, but my grandmother did it. But I'm recommending you don't. When somebody has living biological parents, give them to their parents, especially if their parents are not on drugs. And if their parents are not available, consider adopting them out. Stop feeling like you got to take care of all these people's children. It's ruining your life. And it can unintentionally ruin the children's life as well. So that's one lesson I learned from my grandmother. Be careful when you're taking care of people's kids. If I decide I'm going to take care of this narcissistic white woman kids, this narcissistic white female, if I put my life at risk and I put my life on the line and say I'm going to help her with her children, never forget this. Her children are going to get older. So helping a narcissistic white lady kids, I'm putting myself at risk of being assaulted, robbed, harmed. Worst case scenario in the world, some people get raped. Yes, you can take care of somebody's kids and end up getting yourself raped. We don't think about that one, do we? Especially if they children are males. Okay, so narcissistic white females, it is no need to have them in your life, and they will come through your family. This one ain't never had a job. This narcissistic female that's came in my family, she ain't never worked, sit up on welfare, can't clean, can't cook, barely could wash her ass. Literally, I think she needs help in that area as well. Or it's the only area that she does good in. She still will behave like she's better than Black people. It's just amazing to me how they roll. So narcissistic white females, ain't nothing good coming out of it. I understand that sometimes people gonna struggle. Some people will hear my video and then In 2 years, let the narcissistic white female come over and have a whole, somebody gets shot at the house. They'll do that. People will not listen, but I trust that y'all will listen. I'm giving you a map of how I do things and a guide on how I protect myself. Also, stop making the phone calls. I did one live where I read this letter from a mom that has a psychopathic male son. And one of the things that I had mentioned in that video that she does is she does not make phone contact with her psychopathic son. Because your psychopathic sons will pick, even if they're undiagnosed psychopathic sons, right? They're highly susceptible to pick a narcissistic white female. They're actually at a higher risk of picking a narcissistic white female. Because a psychopathic son gonna be somewhere he not supposed to be. In the streets, at a shelter, at the bar. He's gonna be somewhere he has no business being. So hopefully this helps. And as a disclaimer, this video is not meant to be anything racist. I'm just teaching you how to handle this type of narcissist. Narcissistic white females, they will come into white families and black families and other families. But their top two targets will be white people and black people. They may preference black people more because they may struggle to get their own white people manipulated. They may actually struggle because white people gonna know other white people. A white person of a higher income may just not allow a narcissistic white female in their family just because they're in poverty, just because they've never had a job. So they will play the pity play and go to the black race. The narcissistic white female will go to the black race. So hopefully this makes sense, but beware of this demon coming into your family, no matter what race you are. And as a disclaimer, this video is not meant to be racist. It's meant to be a protector and a protection for you. And the thing with my channel is, and our channel, the channel, Advanced Insight channel, because we're a team here. The thing with this channel is I act out what I'm telling you. I act it out in real time. And the result is very peaceful life where I could be focused on other things. When a narcissistic white female comes into your family, there's no value. It does not add value to the family, whether you a white family or a black family. Your family is not going to increase in value. They're there to rob you too. Any finances and savings that you're building, the narcissistic white female is there to take. That's it. So anyway, for a narcissistic white female, this is the example and the video subject. Narcissistic white females coming into the family. Protect yourself at all costs. I love y'all. Tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. Thank you. Bye. I got my tea and my little small coffee, y'all. My asthma's doing great, so I can have just an itty bitty coffee, not a large one, just a small one. No coughing, asthma symptoms, or zero today, y'all. Yes, thank the Lord. Again, please like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. I can't wait to do my next live. Every day I'm doing video ideas. I got like thousands and thousands of video ideas that I can't all do in one day, y'all. Every time I think of a video idea, I still write it down or put it in my phone. So again, please like, share, and subscribe. Tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. Thank you for being a team here with the Advanced Insight channel. Thank you, YouTube, for allowing me to upload lives now. I need to do a separate video just thanking YouTube. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. Tune in for more right here. Thank you. Bye.